and welcome to the, I believe, sixth episode of the fourth season of Second Sons. As always, I'm Roy Rogers of the Philadelphia Meta, and I am joined today by two of my illustrious colleagues here on Second Sons. The first is the only joke from our last episode that I appreciate. Tim Thompson, how are you today?
I am fine. How are you?
I am well. I had a very long work day, and I have an even longer one ahead of me tomorrow. So,
Rip.
cheers, rip indeed. And I am, of course, as always, joined by Aaron Glazer, who does not get to speak during this segment, even when we're down to just three
But
people.
I have a question. What's
your question, Glazer?
How dare the worst to come be a
Oh, God.
podcast
All right,
of all white people?
Oh God.
Excuse me, sir.
All right.
Not
That voice that you
Alejandro's- not
heard
Alejandro's
speaking
fault.
during this appropriate thing is frequent guest of the show and all around wonderful human being. How you doing today, Alejandro?
I'm doing well, Roy. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. So we actually have a very specific topic today. We will be talking about the World Cup, which has taken the Game of Thrones, the living card, or the dead card game, by storm. So, our DCG is really just been all about this recently. Just for those of you who, though, may only follow along a little bit, the World Cup is, we have what I think it's 22 teams? Yep, 22 teams representing swaths of Europe, North America, and South Asia, competing against each other in a World Cup style event. It's sponsored, of course, by Anil, who did this, I believe, for Netrunner, right? This is what.
You mean L5R?
And L5R. So the first round is currently in progress, and our very own deck expert, Aaron Glazer, has culled through the massive deck dump, because this is the largest amount of data of competitive decks that are being played in a tournament that we've ever had in the history of the game. So it's actually pretty. Yeah, well, it is a competition. I'm just saying,
It's a pretty wide gap.
Sure, there is one deck that is running the city plot reset that, and only two city plots.
Wait, no,
so it can never.
And it's next to the Hollow Hill and running at the gates without Great Hall.
Right.
But
Interesting.
that deck is also 1-0, while America's 0-3.
Yes. So shade could just be thrown everywhere. It doesn't mean anything. But anyway, Glazer, what deck do you want to talk about first here as we jump in and to discuss things?
So I made a quick list. I went through
24
literally.
teams.
Well, so I went through literally every deck last Sunday, the day they were posted, and made like a new Thrones DB to copy a bunch so that I could look through, analyze, break things down. Because as Seth Lowe taught us once upon a time, you have to really care about the game and break things down to be any good. But I decided to pull specific decks from specific places for this conversation. I tried to avoid people who are in the Second Sons Invitational, which decks are currently coming in for. Although Americans want to be as annoying as possible and wait till last minute, the Euro decks are coming in. So I want to start with, I think, a look at the Chinese Lannister reigns and then the French Lannister reigns, because I want to see if I functionally kind of just want to see if the most bog standard deck in the game is built differently in China than in the Western Hemisphere.
All right. I'm going to put these into chat while you all talk.
All right. I'm going to say goodnight to my wife while someone pulls them up.
All right. So we want Chinese reigns. Boom.
Let's start with the Chinese reigns, and then we'll look at it in comparison. I mean, I feel like Roy has insight on Lannister since he's basically a Lanny loyalist now, too.
Oh my God, I am not talking. CT, you talk for a second while I make sure this is all the way.
I have to play Lannister cards this week, and I'm not thrilled about it. So, I mean, Lannister. So, post this restricted list, I definitely think Lannister still ended up being the house that is struggling to come up from the bottom the hardest.
Wait, really?
I do.
Really?
I think so.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. I somewhat agree with you, CT, because I think Lannister's in a great spot until this one card called Exposed Duplicity was printed,
Right.
and suddenly things became really difficult for Lannister, particularly Lannister Kingdom of Shadows. I think the Bowels and other like non decks that don't pay a gold cost to actually marshal cards, and don't have to basically really treat Shadows like a second hand are in an okay spot. But I still think they're a lot weaker. And I think actually these Reign stacks really highlight that, because they're doing the exposed duplicity bullshit that Reigns can do, which is of
Wait,
course
but
flipping into it in the challenges phase.
starting with barring to flip into it. The challenge.
Yeah, starting with Barn to flip into it, right? To really mess with it. And yeah, I think that these decks are both interesting.
Well,
One of which I
let's start with the Chinese one and like actually talk
okay,
about decisions.
sure. Well, all right. Let's start with the last. Where do we want to start? Draw or plot deck?
Um, I mean it's rain, so I guess we should start with the plot deck.
Okay. So for me, the plot deck is not super interesting. I mean, it's
Nothing
about
here surprises me. That's
maybe
for sure.
the forgotten plans, maybe, but I guess it's like Fear of King plot is what that's there for.
It runs Boy King, which is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
I
that's
mean, it never hurts to have multiple answers to King Plot if you aren't
Yes,
that
but
afraid of it.
Or-
one like what is King Plot doing? Like what triggers are they looking for that King Plot is?
I mean the locations, like the Alchemist Guild Hall.
But that's it. And, like
Pinch. They're one pinch.
They're one
They're
pinch.
using Great Hall as their restricted card, so King Plot turns
yeah,
off
but
their
like
restricted card.
you can't forgotten in marshaling.
Right. I
Like,
guess Gregor triggers, Gunther triggers.
yeah, that's all fine, but like none of it seems relevant. Like what really surprises me is double resets in the 7 plot deck.
Cersei, yes, is also
But,
in
like,
here. Gets turned
No,
off.
but like First Snow and Valor is weird to me.
I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Lannister. They can handle First Snow pretty well.
Sure, but both. Alejandro?
Yeah, I was say that First No like hardly is a reset for them, and on Team USA we thought a lot about the open deck list portion of this and felt like we really ought to be running a reset unless we absolutely can feel like we can get away with not running reset, but not having a reset in this format is especially crippling if you're running somebody who could take advantage of it.
We should ask Colt.
Yeah.
Colt's a defender of not running a reset, so he's not the one you should ask.
Well, he's the one who's not running a reset, and it really cost him big time.
So I mean that's not the Colt argument Colt makes, but we can, if Colt's deck is on your list, we can talk about that
It is.
in a little bit. Yeah, I mean just thinking of plots, I think actually the double reset is really smart, particularly because this is like I mean actually even more than the French one, the Chinese one is like a deck out of Mirando's time in this game. It's got a bunch of random one of
It's a lost
Yeah.
relic.
removal spells. It has cards that don't make any sense to me, like Statue of Baelor, that Forgotten
Oh.
Plans.
Statue
I
of
get-
Baylor is
I
a
get
card I'm
Statue of
very high
Baelor.
on.
I,
I'm very
I
high.
really like it in certain factions, yeah.
But Lannister
Yeah.
doesn't have enough renown for this to really like
So, I mean,
Tywin, Jamie, Cersei
using
gets
it as
power
target?
off triggers.
fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for me, like I've always found in my Lannister testing, to, like power to be really precious. Like it's not a resource. It's not Tyrell. It's not Stark. Where you just have like all this spare random renown. Particularly if you're not running sparrows, right? If you're running sparrows, the Baelor becomes a lot more sensible to me. But like for me, at least in Lannister, like
That's
one of
fair.
Lannister's problems is closing. This has Cersei, and Cersei is really powerful, but it has no real ways to like abuse her, like the crossing deck can.
Well, most of the games I play with Statue, it's like
yeah, it
it's
does.
it,
Casterly.
it's not that Statue is necessarily amazing in its own right, but it gives you the flexibility to leverage your challenges, and then you don't have to use it. But if they do challenge you back, you can just use the power to stand them to defend and probably get the power back. It's not
Fair.
that it's not a get ahead card in most of the games I've played with it. At least mostly those were Tyrell decks. But I can see the same argument in a Lannister deck, basically. It's a big dumb idiot doing a thing for you, and then if you need that idiot again, you have the statue. And it's like a one of, so it's not like a big deal to put one in your deck.
Not a big deal.
It's another challenge phase trigger I see them trying to protect, I guess, with Forgotten Quest.
I don't know. I think it's a big deal. I think even Lannister can find, like, this is like a 63rd card to me in Lannister. But again, of course, I'm not the best in the world, but I definitely think that power's pretty precious in Lannister.
It was a better card when Desert Raider was everywhere, right? But
Sure.
even as it is now, like, it's just Tywin remains, like, a standy Tywin remains one of the better cards in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like, just a controlling a board, right? Like a standing Gregor, a Gregor that you can use twice to pillage. Like, you're not losing any power in that case, right? Like, you're equal on power.
I'm not disagreeing that I couldn't find a card I would rather have than Statue of Baelor, like Roy's saying, but I can definitely see why somebody might want to just play a Statue of Baelor also.
There's a bunch of cards in here, to me, that, like, I can think of better cards than, like, Rattleshirt's Raiders.
No, well, the one-ofs, the, like, 8 one-ofs, especially, like, in the characters, suggest to me a deck that wants a Wildfire, and then Wildfire isn't one of their schemes.
Yeah, that's also fair. I think that this deck list might be leaning into the open deck list format, with a bunch of these random one-ofs, Rattleshirts, Brothel Madam, a Core Varys. Like, that's a Glazer circa 2015 card. A Lannister deck running Core Varys. Like,
as a one-off as well.
Yeah, like, this is, I think, trying to lean into that in a way that, like, I'm not up for, but I can definitely maybe see the argument for it. Like, I also don't, like, in a mid-range Lannister deck, the Hound, I can make sure I call it properly, Goldmine, but if they're only running one Goldmine, like, the Hound Goldmine combo it can be very strong. Like,
there's only one Hound too, though.
I know.
Yeah, but it's one Hound.
There's one Hound, one Goldmine. Like, I don't know. Like, how's this
why
deck drawing
running
cards?
Vassal at all in this deck? You're running every Lannister Lord.
So,
obviously, the trick was with the open list. If he just runs one of all these cards, you will forget something.
mm-hmm. You won't play around Varys.
You will not play around something, and you will get blown out by one of these cards. That's the strategy.
I'm with Roy here. This is just bad deck building. There's a lot of questionable things. What is this card?
What is this card?
So, I'm going to say something that's going to benefit Team Lannister. But if y'all are only running one Alchemist Guildhall, you're wrong.
But no, it's a bare minimum 2, maybe 3 if you can really fit it in.
2, you run at least 2, right? Like,
yeah, you run at least
Guildhall is very good. It's better than a second Guildhall is better than the 1x Statue of Baelor.
I mean, it's better than literally every other card in the deck.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking around for this deck's. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. No. This deck is running. Sorry, I have both of them open.
Great Hall.
It's running Grey Hall as this restricted card. For a second, I was on the French list. I was like, wait, 1 Hound and 3 Flea Bottoms? I don't understand how that works. Okay, that makes more sense. Sorry, I switched tabs accidentally. Yeah, like Tower of the Hand. It's just. I mean, maybe again, I don't know. Like, I'm skeptical. Like, if someone in Team Lannister pitched this deck to me, I would definitely give them some pretty hard feedback. There are some things I do like, though. Like, I like the Hand's Judgments. Like, I think that's really smart where we are right now. I think Gunther is also, like, if you're going for, like, one of, like, Lannister cards that are, like, really good surprise tricks, like, I think Gunther is a good one. Synergize, of course, with Cersei. I think you can make an argument for Brothel Madam. I would still cut her. She would definitely be my 60-second card. But it's definitely much closer to me than, this Statue of Baelor, this Boy King, these puts in a way that you don't really have a lot of ways to get them off. Like, why isn't this put just a Hand of Gold? Like, I don't...
It's one of each. It's just...
Again.
For open deck lists, I can see him wanting to threaten both challenges against you, and you have to worry about both.
Again, like...
Yeah,
but they're also
you
one-ups.
make him have it, right? You make him have it.
But how is this deck seeing its one-ups? Like, it has no card draw.
Literally.
It's like one gold mine.
One gold mine. Come on.
Like, gold mine is pretty busted. Don't get me wrong.
That's not card draw. That's card filter.
Right,
There's
filter.
literally no
If
hard
you're
draw.
digging for a card like you're one of Hands of Gold, like
It's
Goldmine's a
got
great
one-
card.
It's got one Pycelle.
Pycelle, sure.
All right,
Oh, and Time of
we-
Plenty, right?
It's riddling the coppers that nobody plays anymore.
But the fact that this is running all four card types, why is it not running instead of this Time of Plenty? Why is it not running Exchange?
I hate Exchange, especially since Throne came out.
Has that, if you do not support that player, been on Cersei the whole time, and I've never noticed it?
Yes, that.
I swear to God, that's the first time I've ever read that text.
All right.
I play tested that box.
Yes. Anyway, are we ready?
Let's look at the other Lenny. Reigns.
Um,
So, I don't think this is less. This is just as questionable. Am I crazy?
I don't
Can't
think
find
it's.
what
It's. Yeah, I see its plan. Like the other deck, I look at it, I don't know what the hell that deck is doing. This, I see its plan.
I mean, like, Tithe Collector is a card in this deck.
Yeah.
And, like, it's running a bunch of one-of locations with PD. But, like, not only is it running PD, it's running cash. Like,
I hate Cash. I hate it
I,
so
I
not a
actually
fan of
really
Cash
like
either.
cash. I like cash in certain decks. This isn't it. Like, but most of the time when someone cashes one of my locations, I'm like, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
I like draw.
I mean,
but-
I've been getting my Dorn cashed lately, and I'm still just like, this is fine. Like, okay.
yeah,
It's
I mean,
not
turns
good.
Dorn into a fair card.
I mean,
I'll kneel this, draw a card, okay.
my-
I can only see like New Wall or something being like, oh crap, this is bad. But like most locations, just like whatever, you wasted a card on this, and I get to draw cards still.
I think it's. I
I
actually
get
like its. I would start at the plots. So I like its
Oh, I hate
schemes
its
package
plots.
better.
Yes.
Two heads
right.
on spikes. I'm out.
So
Or-
I don't. Yeah, two heads is not a thing you should do.
I mean, this is a.
Range isn't going to rush. It's just not going
Well,
to rush.
that's what
You're
this
running
deck
one...
is trying to do, right? Like,
No, it's not, because it's running one Casterly.
Yeah, but it's also running all the passive power that Lannister can run. Like it's running
Oh.
3 Downing Septa, 3 Tithe Collector.
I mean,
Like-
but if it, I mean, I guess late summer, but it's not really going to be able to use Tithe Collector. I don't know.
I mean,
Let me
Tithe
see.
Collector is not very good. I wish it was. Like if Tithe Collector was good, I would have just been so much more excited to play Lannister than I was before I really got testing. But it's acceptable to do the kind of thing that what's the Barra card? Relore Infiltrator, the one that
Mhm.
gains a power
Yeah.
switches. Like it's just designed to do that, right? Where you put it into play on the turn before you win. As long as this card survives into marshalling, you win. Like you can put it that if it's in play, you reduce the amount of power you need the next turn to win by 1, and that can be really strong when you're trying to do things like 2 heads on spikes people. You're downing septaing people.
I mean,
And this deck is
yes,
winning
but,
injury
like,
challenges.
so I'm all around with you, but like that's the goal. Then why are we playing with Paramancer's Cash and not other things that gain power?
I don't know. Maybe it's put it on your own locations. I don't know.
But like that's my
I think
big
Cash is a bad
question.
card. Like I really do. So,
I don't. I think it's really good in certain shadows
Pretty good in
builds.
other
Certain
ways.
shadows builds that like certain locations screw up, that kind of thing. But I mean, but like, there's just so many little weird decisions here. Like you want to rush, but you're only going halfway home, and like this isn't winning a long game, unless you get real lucky.
Yeah.
Bastard of Driftmark and Flea
it's-
Bottom is pretty cute, I guess.
Yes. Doubting Septon and Flea Bottom is actually
It's,
really
it's
good.
like they took a
No, the
crossing deck.
bastard being able to use the Flea Bottom twice
Yeah.
is kind of what I was shooting for.
Yeah, and then you can double Doubting Septon.
I would actually maybe consider Bastard as like a 3-up if I was playing this deck.
Yeah.
It's definitely better than the first Littlefinger. The second
I
one
mean-
of that is better than the Littlefinger.
Oh, I also don't love two of new uniques as a general rule. Like I don't love two Marcella or two Joffrey.
Well, one of the advantages that I think that like where you said card filtering, like Goldmine is super good at two of cards. Like if
Yeah.
you want to see one copy of something, like this is what I found playing Lannister, and why I've actually come around a little bit on Lannister is entirely Goldmine, because you can run a bunch of two of something that you want to see one copy of that card, and then you can just filter. It's like, okay, I top decked it. All right, Neil my Goldmine, chuck it, get another card. Like in a way that I think I haven't really experienced since, the high point of Tyrell when you were running what were they called? The 2-drop bestow that let you draw and discard. What are those called? The
So
draw girl. I call them draw girls, but I don't remember what the cards
no,
actually
I
are.
know exactly who you mean.
Uh,
I'm just gonna
Super
say
powerful.
that I love this topic because I just want to do this with every deck in the game all the time, and this makes me super happy. This is just like a Lance call. It's like, ooh, can we just break down these
Oh,
decks now,
all right.
please?
Bye.
Um, hey,
But
if you're running, wait,
go.
sorry, a thing I wanted to say earlier, and I don't think I did. If you're running Reigns, you need to be running Red Wedding.
I would agree with that sentiment.
It's very
Like
true.
they go first, and they let you get a range trigger, and then you win sometimes. Seems good, right?
I mean,
Like,
every stupid Voltron deck right now is a Lord or a Lady. So like if your deck has no removal otherwise, it could just win you a game.
So I think.
wait,
I,
this
I
isn't
think the
running
World Cup
barring.
format, Red Wedding, is really good. I think the question is if you think that there's not a lot of. If you think that Night's Watch, Big Wall is the deck to beat, maybe running Red Wedding isn't the card to be playing, though.
It's not. Do we all agree with the deck to beat is? Like, I want to
Ty-
all say it at once.
Tyrell Kingdom, choose your flavor. Like it doesn't matter
Really?
which one.
You think that's the best deck? I think
It's the most annoying deck, and it has like 3 different variants. So
so. I think
I think
it's
it's the easiest deck to
watch.
counter, though.
I think it's watch.
Yeah.
Watch Sea of Blood, because just if they have no fucking locations, they're not doing a lot.
I don't know
Yeah.
about that either. I think you might be right about Watch Sea of Blood being the deck. I think Bound. I don't think it's a deck to beat. I think it's a card, and that's Bound for the Wall.
Yeah, but both Bound for the Wall and Yorin are like exceptional in that deck.
And they're exceptional in the Night's Watch Wolf. They're acceptable in
Yeah,
a
but
bunch of builds.
it's that they can remove anything that annoys them and then take anything they didn't remove.
Oh, by the way, this deck, you know what? Actually, the 1x Baylor makes more sense in this deck to me than it makes sense in the other one.
Because there's more ways to get power.
There's just more ways to get random ass power on your characters. With the
I mean,
threes.
it's all. I think all but one of the Lanny Shadows decks are running one Alchemist Guild Hall.
I think that's a mistake.
I definitely, regrettably, only have one Alchemist Guild Hall, and
Yeah,
I struggled.
I
struggled
know.
over it. I struggled
I ju-
over it for like literally 30 minutes before submitting my deck list.
Why didn't you message me, you douche?
Like, I think that, like, this
Because my
Tyrion's,
honest attitude was just like, I'm playing Lannister. I don't fucking care. Here's a deck list.
this
It was
Tyrion's
super-
Chain could easily be an Alchemist Guild Hall. And I think you wouldn't
I
miss
mean,
the Tyrion's Chain.
wait, do you want me to list the cards in the deck that come in Alchemist Guild Hall? Tyrion's Chain,
If you're,
Third
if you're playing
Down
two
Zepta,
heads on spikes, you have to
sec-
double down and play Tyrion's Chain.
second Joffrey, third Lannisport Merchant, second Lannisport Merchant, first Lannisport Merchant,
First
Littlefinger, second Myrcella, Podrick, Red Cloak 1, Red Cloak 2, probably not Jamie, Lancel, Shay.
People still seriously put Podrick Payne in decks.
The French do.
Ugh.
All right. I think we've talked enough
we can
about
stop.
these, though. Unless
Shouldn't talk about
Alejandro,
Podrick Payne. It's a sore subject for Tom McKenzie.
do you have any sort of final thoughts about these Lannister decks that Glazer pulled for us before we sort of jump?
No, the first one I can't really understand a whole lot from. This one to me looks like a crossing list that maybe wanted a few answer cards, right? Like it wanted Exposed Duplicity without wasting one of its 7 plot slots, and decided to switch over to range for that reason. That's the reasoning I see, but I think this deck's still stronger at a crossing. And
And with 2 more Bastard of Drift marks.
I actually do feel like Alejandro's a good point there, though. It feels like a war format list where your team found that like one of the best decks is your crossing deck, but you can only run 2 copies of the crossing deck. And you're like, oh, well, what's close enough? Oh, Reigns. And you get these, like, answer cards. Okay, well, play that. So it definitely feels a little bit like that, which is weird because it's World Cup and you could pick any agenda you wanted for your faction. But, yeah, it definitely beats up on Shadows decks, though, which I think a lot of people want to do right now. So.
Sure, I'll lose to it later.
This format specifically is weird for checking for shadows, right? Like, you know you're gonna have to play Lannister in a war format, and that means likely a shadow deck. Like at least 3 or 4 of their decks are gonna be shadows. But in this, you're kind of maxing out at 2 shadows per team at most. Right? Like that's 2 out of 9.
I will be right back.
But you also have the flex spot person that could be like a 3rd Shadows deck.
But it hasn't been in anyone's deck. I'm pretty sure no one's running 3 shadows.
Isn't USA running 3 Shadows?
2. Your Tyrell is in shadows.
Yeah, they are.
We have 2 Tyrell Shadows and 1 Landy Shadows.
Your Tyrell is not a shadows. It's a mill deck. Like,
I mean, it is a mill deck,
But it's a shadow deck.
but all the important cards are shadows cards.
I guess. Fine. I can't believe you guys are running mill, by the way. Like, if I believed Discord was a thing, mill I would have been so mad at you all.
You know, I'm going to let Colt do his thing.
I was against running mill, but I am going to let Colt have his fun.
I'm going to assume Colt is better than me at this kind of thing. Like, Colt's built a million decks that I didn't think would work that actually worked. But when mill didn't work, I was just like, mill.
Well, mill didn't work in one game, Glazer. Like, you got to, like...
I mean, it's just
against Citadel Archivist, right? Like,
and also like Colt had outs throughout that game.
And
Colt's also the kind of person when you argue with him about like, well, what about this scenario? What about this scenario? He's just like, if they have answers, they have answers. That's just his philosophy on life.
I mean, and that is the appropriate philosophy to the kind of decks that Colt wants to play.
Correct.
Right? And I think that's a fundamental difference between like I built a lot of decks and play with Glazer a lot. Like particularly when it comes to things Glazer wants to play, he doesn't like that answer. When he's telling everyone else to play Drown God, and we're like, well, there are all these answers in the meta. Glazer's like, well, if they have answers, they have answers. More likely to win.
Wait.
That was the whole argument.
You're missing my argument, because you're misquoting my argument. The important difference is I'm saying 5 people should bring the deck, and if all 5 of us run into answers, then Malucci wins Gen Con. Right? But, like, I think that's very different than when a single person is playing a single deck at a tournament. Like, my logic for a single person is different than my logic for a team. And mind you, I've literally never played our team deck. So,
what about? So we want to talk about Jakob's Martel Wars now?
I mean, why don't we let someone else pick? There's a whole list. Pick from our list.
Somebody else pick.
No. One of you guys, and then we'll let the chat do some later.
I mean, we've talked about Colt's deck enough. Do we want to just jump into Colt?
I think he would die if I jumped into him.
Well, yes. All right. Well, I'm just going to say we're going to do Colts.
All right.
James Stewart sent a deck. Jimmy. So I've got that open for later, Jimmy, just so you know. So let's go to Colt.
All right. Colt's deck is now in the chat. So, yeah, this is the dreaded mill deck that people have been afraid of since we saw the earlier versions being played out of Banner Kraken by Hano. That he played to middling success at UK War for Sandy, and this is I think a more refined version of that archetype, and it's just designed to mill your opponent out, abusing Shadow's interactions to do so. And it's running a few answer cards. Like, I don't want to make this a whole How in the Why video where I explain like literally every interaction, but I think that I've been working with Colt. Well, not by working. I have not been working. I've been listening to Colt talk about this deck and its interactions because I've been too busy to really like dig into anything. And I think it's in a good place. I think that it has has opportunity to just like take over a format if decks aren't ready for it.
So, you know what card I want in this real bad? What's my favorite card? 3-drop. Alejandro knows.
Begging Brother?
It's Begging Brother.
Yeah.
Which I argued with Colt about a great extent. But he's just
Are we not running deck, bro?
because Eric Glazer, if they have the answers, they have the answers.
But you're running Alchemist Guildhall, so you're already clearly like just run. It's
But
redundant.
Alchemist Guildhall synergizes with other things in the deck.
Alchemist Guildhall is far cheaper and easier to keep on the board than a Begging Brother. Also, to play devil's advocate for Colt's arguments as well.
Not devil's advocate. That's literally Colt's argument.
He's running 2 late summer feast. What's restricted?
What about this brothel madam? He has restricted his Dragon's Tail.
His Dragon's Tail.
Oh,
You need the tails.
Yeah, you do.
The brothel madams there are to protect, I think, your lazies, your...
But who's not giving you the gold? Because they don't have to have a huge board because you're not doing anything to threaten their board.
I think it's also maybe for Sea of Blood decks that aren't saving gold.
But, I mean, I guess if you're second player, it'll shut it down for a turn.
And that could be all you need, right? Because you don't want a lot of these cards to get blown up. You definitely don't want your Iron Throne or your Hollow Hill or your
Iron Throne's on the board. It shouldn't get blown up, though.
Yeah, you just say fucking put to the torch and shrug, right?
Yeah, my brothel madam was like that could be the Begging Brother slot.
I mean, it has to be Lannister cards. So
if you don't,
right. Yeah,
if you don't. Sense. Oh, I guess that does make sense.
Yeah. Don't get too ahead of yourselves.
It is. That is true. It is looking for 12 good Lannister cards, and there aren't really.
Might still be too cute, but it does have to be Lannister cards.
Yeah.
But and it synergizes what the deck is doing better than like 2x Hound or something like that could be in here.
Right. At least it's giving you gold. Like if they're paying for it, you're getting a gold back on a chud. I guess.
Yeah. No, 100% correct to not swap that out for Begging Brother and make your deck legal.
But you could go up to like X3 Robert Strong, X3 Guildhall or something. Like it's
like. Yeah, I guess.
It helps on setup.
Like, Forgotten Plans would be at least first snow for me, if not Valor.
No. You have to run Forgotten Plans in this deck.
You cannot drop Forgotten
Plans. You just
Plans.
lose to Barring.
Oh, I disagree. I just think this format, I don't care. Like, you've got to time it right, and in this format, like, 2 out of every 9 decks are running Barring. If you hit the Barring, like, if they have the answers, they have the answers. Barring
more than 2 out of 9.
No. It's not that they have the answers. They have the see. Forgotten Plans, like this deck can get into you win the turn if you can bring cards out of shadows on a turn. You can just win. So you just use Forgotten Plans to ensure that turn happens. The only card that beats you there is Expose, but oftentimes you can set things up so you don't lose to Expose. Like you have a Clever Feint in your hand and you leave them you leave cards in play or whatever, like, and return them, in the plot phase or something.
See, but that's why I like First Snow so much. But I guess, Clever Feint gets around that.
What decks are not playing Barring or King Plot? Like, I think.
You can literally look through 80% of them aren't. Like, it's like, so Roy's will vouch for me. Like, as arrogant as I seem on podcasts, I will often just be like, I'm terrible at this game and I'm trash, and like get really down on things. And like looking at these deck lists, I've never thought I'm better at building decks. Because holy shit, that these people were like, this is what I think is good. It's like, oh no, I'm good at this, fine. But like look at here, I'm gonna pick a random ass deck. We're on Australia and Tyrell.
Australia, Tyrell.
Oh, is this on your decks to talk about list?
Hey, no, I'm just picking a random deck. Hey, look, it's a Shadows deck. Congrats, you auto win. Let's flip to South Korea Night's Watch, right? Like South Korea Night's Watch. This one has Forgotten Plans in it and nothing to answer Shadows. Great. All right, cool. Let's pick another Wait,
why does it have Forgotten Plans?
I don't know.
Is it a wolf deck?
Yeah, it's a wolf deck.
Okay, so maybe it doesn't want Barring, so it can always wall.
My next click was Arroyo, and Arroyo in his Night's Watch Reigns is running the proper thing. Okay, let's check, I don't know, Renard Belenzer. and his
Oh my god, that was a
We're
bold
just
Baron.
statement.
slamming people on this. Okay.
He's running
Okay.
King of the North, but not barring. Okay, like
That was greater than 80%, I think.
like it's just Dave on Martel. Dave is a different person. Is running Martel Fealty with March Return, First No Valor, as Riddle and Windai. Like people aren't running enough barring in this format, and I think it's crazy to think they were going to. Like I think if you assume no barring and just run something else, it's far more likely to benefit you than otherwise. At least in this format.
I mean, maybe in this format, but I think like if you're playing a deck that relies on Shadows synergies and you're not running Forgotten Plans at this point, you are just giving up points in a way that is painful. Like barring just particularly the ability to go barring into expose. Now it's not just like weather the storm, barring, weather the storm. Barring king plot where like if you've got enough shadows reps, you could at least maybe weather the storm if they're not playing something fast. But if they go barring expose, you lose. Like you just lose. Like, and not in like a fun, oh, you outplayed me way. It's just, oh, I didn't do shit for a turn, and then you killed all my cards, and now I have 2 cards in hand, and cool, fun games. So I don't know, but anyway, do we want any more things we want to say about Colt?
I love Colt.
I love Colt too. Colt's
the best,
a mad
except
genius.
he's the best, except when he's the worst.
I think that he's working really hard to break open this archetype, and he will eventually hit. I think the problem is like having talked to Colt about this deck. This deck is like 3 iterations behind in his current like thinking about what the best thing is this, and he's stuck playing it for a while. Right?
Hey,
You have to stick with this deck list for the entire run, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if he loses a bunch of games, he doesn't have to stick with it as long.
that's fair. That's fair.
We'll see. We'll see how many archivists he runs into.
hey, can you guys do Adam Kollar's deck? Because A, he's loyalist, or B, Australia's real far away from here, and C, I've got a P and I'm not good at Barra.
All right. Well, why don't we jump to our Bear expert here, CT? Why don't you tell us about this Bear cohort deck?
CT, the expert of all the bad houses.
Let's see. Barra cohort. This looks very similar to what Hano was doing, with kind of the super aggressive start. Barra cohort.
I think it's pretty close. It's just running exposed now, right?
Yeah, it's got a few different numbers and some anti-shadows hate, looks like. Yeah, so I hear that Azor Ahai Reborn is a really good card if you put it on Robert and go first.
So I'm actually pretty interested to hear what you and Alejandro have to say about Expose in this deck. So I think it's good, but I also am a little skeptical because I think the play patterns that this encourages against Shadows is actually Shadows has to bring cards out to beat you. Like I think Shadows could beat the old Bear cohort, but required you to interact. And if you're bringing your Robert Strong out to kill a person, to kneel, and then you're bringing out, Mandan to cause you to discard cards, and suddenly the Shadows player on turn 2 has, 2 or 3 decent characters in play and can block challenges and has killed 1 to 2 of your people, and then you expose and you get 2 cards out of them, is not really as good, is not, great compared to, say, barring. Going barring, you can't bring out any of your interaction, even if you play it in the marshalling into King in the North. Now you can't trigger anything. Is much better. I don't know if Expose is the right anti-shadows card for this style of deck. What do you two think?
I mean, I think Expose looks fine here. Because I'm assuming, so if you're playing as Shadows, you're opening at the gates, you're going into King, and then you're probably exposing...
Turn 3? But they can still bring things out of Shadows. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you could PD turn 3 and jack up their economy, or you could even, like, especially if they get a strong burst at the beginning, you could even PD early as 2 or 3, and then the expose has more impact.
Or you
Because they're not
turning,
bringing
are
anything
you
out.
are you like expecting
I
them to
guess.
go turn 1 econ plot, play a bunch of cards in the shadows, turn 2 you expose them?
So no, wait. Isn't the idea that you don't assume when you're going to expose, you just wait for an opportune time? Like I've beat Shadows decks where like expose just sits in my used pile the whole time because I'm like, this isn't the right time. This
You mean
isn't the
your
right time.
unrevealed plot cards that you're using?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Sorry, unrevealed. Thank you.
I mean, it just kind of depends on their pace, I guess. If they dump 4 cards, 5 cards into Shadows turn 1, sure, just hit them plot 2. You've probably done enough damage, and then you're going to PD them after that. So, like, how easily are they going to recover?
That's fair. I just feel like if this deck is winning, it's never going to want to flip expose. And then if it's losing, Shadows has already done its payoff. So I think like it wants something to like mess with their tempo more. And that's why I think Barring is the better card here.
Probably the issue with this deck is this deck really needs to control initiative more than usual, and Duplicity is just giving you a better chance of winning initiative than
No,
Barring.
that's fair. That's a good argument.
And that's probably all it comes down to.
I mean,
because like Barring itself isn't necessarily hurting the deck outside of like Old Bill Bone or something that's like not really going to be an issue.
you're not flipping Barring in times when you wanna.
Yeah, so it's like Barring
Bone
wouldn't hurt
people.
this deck, but I can see why Duplicity's there instead. I guess just from an
Hey.
initiative point.
There's a cut that's 3-2 for this.
Yeah.
Like that, you're the player or the faction.
What do you mean?
Like the
The
player or
team.
the country. The team
Yeah,
has to be 3-2.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has
Ah.
Adam played yet?
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's fine. No, he hasn't. So hey, what's up with 3 Angai?
I mean,
I swear to
Hannah
God.
plays for the guy.
I mean, you're not
Because
running.
the deck opens the Relar card, and you just need like good, efficient Relar bodies.
Yeah,
It's
but
also the only loyal characters are the kings, right?
yes.
So like,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you're
like,
doing Engai turn 1, yeah.
Yeah, he's like always on turn 1 and 2 if you see him right away.
Okay.
I thought
I'm
it was weird
interested-
too.
I'm interested in the choice of Robert Baratheon here. They went with
Yeah, that's
this
the
new one.
Oh, the new one?
The
Yeah.
fast one.
Well, I mean, he can get shit ton of power.
it's 8 power in 1 turn, right? Like, am I crazy? If you can get 3 challenges off,
3 renown.
3 renown, 3
plus 2
Azar,
trigger.
3 Azar Azai, right?
Azor doesn't.
Oh, Azar doesn't gain power extra.
No. So okay. So it's 3 from his renown, 2
Yeah.
from his reaction,
5,
1 from the power claim.
6.
Six.
6 power in a turn, still not bad.
Oh, I mean it's pretty ridiculous. It's not as crazy as Bear Wolf can get, but
So I discussed this with Hano earlier. I think this Robert's always a mistake.
Yeah, I don't agree with this Robert. The intimidate on the other one is so key.
Yeah, that was a big part of that deck.
It's
Yeah.
just, like,
That's literally why we just argued over why it was exposed over Barring. You make most of the time it's because of Robert being first.
right.
I mean this deck I guess then plays if it I feel like this actually that Robert could be good if Greyjoy hadn't hit the restricted list and was constantly controlling the initiative and you could never actually go first. Then maybe this Robert's better.
Well, actually, he has 3 Warhammers, so he's giving this Robert Intimidate anyway, theoretically.
Fair.
Like,
Yeah.
this Robert
Yeah.
should have it.
Yeah.
But
That's
he's
a good
also
point.
not like 17 strength.
True. Harder
And,
to
like,
win the fight. But the Red
17
God's Blessings usually get you the fights anyway, right?
Yeah,
Because you have like 7 Relar characters in play.
I want to kneel their world, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, you
I guess
will.
that's fine.
You will.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah.
draw 1 more card.
It's just I don't have to run the Warhammers and as many Red God's Blessings if I'm just running the better Bob.
Well, Hano's original list was playing the 3 Blessings anyway, and I think like
Yeah.
2.
I think you always run the 3 blessings for just
Yeah,
like the
'cause
awkward
I think
draws.
I'd run 2
Yeah.
Blessings and less Warhammer, if any. Like, I love Warhammer. Warhammer is actually literally, I think, my favorite Barra card. I just... Also, someone needs to remind me that I should probably go first against Baratheon now. Because I spent 5 years going second against Barra because Red
Neil.
Priest wasn't a card. And now I'm just like, oh, right, every fucking
Yeah,
game.
Kai Selfly better get you.
Sorry, that's an aside, but It's happened 4 times this week where I've just like, oh, I lost. I forgot that I need to go first when I win initiative.
Womp womp.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, like I think it's fine. I think New Rob's fine if you're playing like 3 Warhammers. I can see the appeal.
I mean, just extra cards necessary to make him into as good as 1 card, though.
And
Yeah.
Hanno's list was so tight, economy-wise, that 1 cheaper Robert Baratheon is fine.
That's fair.
That feels
6
really good.
I think actually that's probably the more convincing argument to me. Like 6 cost for the power gain is, because then you are still playing 7, right? Because Warhammer's 1.
Yeah.
So you're paying the same amount of gold, but you need 2 cards. But this Robert is better if you're in an economic tight squeeze, and if you just need to close, this Robert is better.
Mm-hmm.
Can I also say that if you can mercenary contract this Robert, it's way better for Targaryen. It's just like, ooh, I get all his power, and I can get 2 extra power with him. Thank you.
Yeah, because it goes on your faction cards.
Action, yeah. I'm just like, oh, so I got 3 power on him, and now I have 2 extra, and I want a power challenge, and I got those 2 extra renown. I just got like 7 power. Cool. Have a great day. I win.
Anyway.
Meanwhile, the other Bob yells my Dario, and nothing good happens.
Still a very strong deck, I think. I think it's, for me, the major point of criticism would be, like, I'm a little skeptical of the expose here, but I definitely see the arguments for it. Other than that, I think it's pretty tight.
I want Scene and Flames in these decks.
What are you gonna cut for it?
I mean, honestly, I think
You can't
14
cut characters.
attachments is
Maybe
probably
the
fine.
acolytes, but that's still
14,
reducing you real
14 attachments is probably fine. I also really don't like 1 Isle of Ravens in anything. It's 2 or none.
What
Yeah, that's
Isle of
Cohort,
Ravens is
though.
weird in a political disaster deck.
But it's
Yeah.
it's
He should have
Cohort.
archivists.
Yes,
there you go.
Archivist I could see. Replace it with Archivist, and I'm with you.
All right. Now that we're talking about
Yeah.
putting archivists in this deck, let's move on.
Do you want to talk about the sweetest deck?
What's the sweetest deck?
The Istvan deck, Disney Martell.
Okay.
Martel Kraken?
Yeah, it's the coolest deck in the tournament. Sorry, CT, you're second coolest.
That's fine.
I mean, not
I
the
think- Like, our Martel, the Hollow Hells aren't particularly innovative. They're just going back to doing what Martel used to be good at.
Yeah.
Is this the $1,000,000 gold on Ricasso deck?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Oh,
all
that
right.
thing
So-
is back?
But it does so many other cool things.
Okay. I
It's
was like, wait,
amazing.
unbridled generosity. Okay.
Wait, no. Unbridled Generosity with Annals of Castle Black.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's silly. It's just
It's not
I don't-
running the X1 pillage. Is pillage loyal? Let me check. Or is it pillage? What's the card
Pillage
that
is-
loot?
Village is not
Loot.
loyal. Loot. Yeah.
Loot is not loyal. It's not running the X1 loot. Then you really get them.
This deck is cool. I mean, it won. Like, I was pretty sure it was bad. But, it's also beat me a couple times, let's be honest. I've played this online.
It's got 1 Citadel Archivist.
I think this one Seas of a Guard could go, and we go to 61 cards. Like 62 makes me a little icky feeling. I don't like 62 card decks. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but just 61 kind of makes me want
You
to
say
lay
at
on the
62,
fainting
but
couch
you
for a
run-
little bit.
You
But
run 2
62.
Iron Throne. I'm a sucker for any deck with Iron Bank. I love Iron Bank.
I mean, Iron Bank, there's not a lot of things that, like with Greyjoy a little bit not as good,
And Stark terrible.
Stark terrible. Although Banner Wolf is in a good spot, so
It's in an okay spot.
Night's Watch Wolf is still a good deck. Like it's
Oh yeah, but that's the only wolf, right? And in this format, your odds of Bankus, your odds of seeing it
I
are
mean, I
higher.
guess in this format. Again.
Yeah,
I'm more
I
thinking
mean-
about like in a winner's bracket, you're going to see 2 to 3 Night's Watch Wolf decks.
I mean, if Ricasso has 15 gold on him, who gives a shit if you're a 62 card deck? You're gonna secret schemes for like 1,000, right?
I mean, you're
Because,
gonna be.
The problem is you have to find Ricasso.
Yeah, like what if Ricasso is card?
Bro, you got 2 Metal Lark. 2. You just have to wait.
I don't even know what
out
Meadowlark does. Sacrifice Meadowlark deck per character with printed cost X or lower. You know, Meadowlark is really good.
If you set it up, it's actually like not complete ass.
Yeah,
No,
you just have to wait
what
until
it's
turn
really good for?
3, right?
No. In real
Oh no,
decks,
you have
know,
Prince Doran's Behest. Okay, so it's
Yeah,
turn
you know
2.
what it's wait, you know what it's really good with that this deck doesn't even bother running? Ario Hota.
Right.
Like if you just like either Hota, you're just like, oh, by the way, Hota, fuck you. That's really annoying.
Man, this is
Pretty
also.
Hotas are right. Yeah.
Oh, it's got this Hefster Cletus. No, what's the one that is not Cletus? It's Drinkwater, the one that swaps plots.
Yeah, he doesn't matter. He's when he comes out of shadows. Meadowlark doesn't work. Cletus is really good though. This deck is just cool, right? Like it's
a cool deck.
I feel like it shouldn't win a lot, especially because it's got one host of the Bone Way, which I'm almost sure is
here.
wrong. Oh, hi Colt.
Does it put it in the play?
Yeah.
Oh, it puts it in the play.
Oh, I get it. All right, yeah. Meadowlark gets around Iron Throne shenanigans.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Until end of phase, that card cannot be martial, played, or put into play.
Yes,
yeah, but you can Meadowlark
dominance.
a guy any time.
Oh, anytime, right. So next phase you do it, right? Okay.
That's kind of sweet, yeah.
That is pretty sweet.
Meadowlark OP, the only answer to the Iron Throne Overlord.
Oh man.
I hate
this deck's so weird. I hate it.
Like, is it weird though? Like, if I think if you're trying to abuse Ricasso, these are all the cards you would play, right?
Look at what Ariane is running. I don't know why. I don't know how it ever affords her. I just don't get it. But it's so cool.
It affords her because you have 15
plays-
gold on Ricasso in Doran's name.
Once you're doing that, like, you can do whatever you want in this game.
What do you mean? How do you get her to play? You Meadowlark her out because Ricasso has 15 gold on him. You're just like, I'll get Ariane. She's free.
That is thankfully not how Meadowlark works. Meadowlark actually needs you to reveal the
plots.
It is, however, completely stupid with Iron Bank, which I think CT is going to go add to his Shadows deck, his Next Hollow Hill deck now.
Probably not.
Oh, you mean I can run Iron Bank and have all the gold?
I don't need that much gold.
No, you really don't. This deck is...
Iron Bank is still a fragile beast to me.
It is running Favors from the Crown. Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay.
The weirdest deck in the world and so cool. Like, this deck is cool, but the second it actually works, like, if this won the turn, we'd be like, please ban this.
It's nice to see Summer Harvest crawl out of its hole from 2 years ago. It's fun.
Why are they running Summer Harvest exactly?
I don't know.
Just run.
I see no reason it couldn't just be something else.
Just run 9 gold, right? Like, run 901. You're not trying to win challenges.
I mean, with Prince Doran, it's an old school at Prince Doran Behest's interaction. Like, you flipped this high gold plot? Well, I got 2 more. Got him.
Yeah, I guess so.
Were we opening at Prince Doran's behest? I assumed we were doing that mid-game.
I mean, it depends on when you have your Meadowlark.
Does this deck care to do that mid game?
I don't know what
the goal of this deck,
I think
right,
it probably.
is...
I think you probably want to get it, do it right away, or maybe just wait till Meadowlark is out. But I'm not waiting very long to play Behest to start getting the advantages from all these cards before revealing Behest.
You always just mulligan for Meadowlark, set it up, and open Behest. Boom.
Jimmy suggests that the real power of this deck is that every single character has stealth. Because of
that doesn't have stealth. That doesn't have stealth.
No,
that
Salt,
doesn't have
Salt
stealth.
the Sailor says you all have stealth.
Oh, because of the Jonathan Andrews patented interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of the Greyjoy characters have stealth.
All the non-Greyjoy characters.
Stony Shore Raider can still have stealth, and so can Silence's crew.
True.
That's true.
True.
Tris Botley can't have stealth.
Can we just... Why the fuck did we print Kerwin? I hate Kerwin.
Because we took Iron Mines away. We have to give him the same shit back, right? Because good design.
I hate Kerwin so much.
At least Kerwin has to die for it to happen.
I mean, I guess he costs 2 and does nothing. Like, he's an Iron
You're
Knight.
playing Targaryen. Like, you are like, when you see a Greyjoy player play this card, you're like, oh, you sweet summer child. He's gonna die to my blood of the dragon, and then you're gonna be done fucked.
Womp
Alright.
womp.
Except that I have 2 claim military, and this ruins that right before it.
Fair.
I hate
Plus he's a maester, so it's even better.
Yeah. Other cards I wish we never printed. Outwit.
Womp womp.
Outwit
It's
hasn't
cool.
done much. So
Players committee's coming. Outwit's just restricted on principle.
okay.
It's
Alright.
probably gonna actually have to like
In before
perform first.
Laser gets fired from the players committee. Alright, so
I just get to be in charge of the restricted list, though, right? Yeah, that's how that works.
that's not how that works, I don't think. Anyway, so do we want to talk about LGB's Tyrell Sea of Blood?
Sure. I think that's a cool deck.
I think it's a cool deck too. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
One of the 2 decks he gets to play.
Yeah, because there's 8 Thrones players in all of Brazil.
So his name is Team Stark apparently. Yeah, this is a super cool deck.
Isn't it though? Like, genuinely, this is one of the cooler decks that
it's
was
cool.
doing the work.
Like, and I guess like I've been constantly. I feel like I've said it every podcast, but also like in our testing group, like, what's the point of playing mid-range Tyrell? Like, there's not the payoffs that there used to be, and I think that this deck is trying to find that reason with just like going all in on strength pumps, all in on the efficient Tyrell characters, and then trying to leverage the agenda to give you a reason to win challenges with those characters in a non-crossing way.
This deck is boring.
So, yeah.
It also has too few fates decrees.
Does it have 3 faith decrees? Does it
Even
have enough
for-
faith characters to make it consistent?
Even for a Sea of Blood deck, it should have
Yes.
more than one.
It's
There's
not
2
not
Gate of the
work.
Gods.
Yeah, use Gate of the Gods.
Oh, he's great. The guy. I always forget that. That's so busted, by the way.
Yeah,
Like-
that's exactly why it's stupid.
Like putting
Really is
putting your
silly.
power from sparrows on Gates of the Gods is like, you feel like that's when you're like, oh, I'm winning this game. Like,
Yep. Oh, my mostly protected from most cards in the game limited location? Seems fine.
seems fine. It's got 7 power on it. Got him.
Seems fine.
My-
Nothing wrong here.
I've talked about nothing with Johnny Wright for like a month, but like, man, I wish we had like Shadows can still be any time, but it should really be once per phase.
Yeah.
It just should. It just should have been.
Shadows being what it is right now is
I mean, there could
Days
just be the
worth of
limit of
insane.
every card could only come out once per phase, and that would
Just do once per phase. Like first edition, once per phase and only at the beginning of the phase and only one is crazy, right? Like, but
it was
once.
The way the game was designed with Shadows in mind, it'd be so bad for all Shadows decks if you could only bring out one card a phase.
Yeah, like the problem is like all the Shadows cards become largely garbage except for Mira. Maybe Mandan. is
Almost all of them are
acceptable.
good. Gregor is still good. Like it's just Shadows becomes a cool sub theme instead of like, gee, we have to print this plot that kills it, or it's gonna
Well, they
over
printed a
the
plot
game.
that killed it in first edition too. But I
Yeah.
really
Sure.
do not want to go down the.
None of these would be a problem if Unexpected Guile just didn't exist.
So Lannister has 4 different ways to bring things back to hand. Like that's a lot.
But none of them cost 1, and you can do them infinitely in a phase.
Yeah, but there's one that can do infinite characters or locations that have shadows.
It's
How does it do
like
infinite?
Lannister's so far more reasonable.
I mean, as many as you have. Clever Feints, like, okay, all of you.
Well, Cover Feint is a faction, Neil, so you can only do it once.
Right. And it's an event, and it's easily canceled.
And also,
Mhm.
so you're trying to think of like it's a marshaling phase on a trade route's turn where you have a million locations and you're just like cycling but you can't return the. I'm just trying to think of how you do it infinitely. Like you can do some crazy fucking
mean-
shit. Don't get me wrong. Like
Oh,
you
you
can
can
like I
return
triggered
infinite
Mandan
stuff.
3 times. No, four times in a single round, but
I've done Mandan 4 times in a marshalling phase.
yeah,
Step your game up.
well I did it 3 times in the marshaling and once in challenges because
I
didn't do it anymore, so.
got 4 in marshalling, once in challenges, and once in Dom. It's nice. Trade Routes is a stupid card. Scott was so right.
Anyway.
Right, like Shadows isn't inherently the problem. Stupid cards like Trade Routes and Unexpected
I don't
Guidance.
know. I don't think Shadows is inherently the problem.
No.
But like Shadows enables us making problems.
I don't know. Like I like the ability
let's
of
talk about
factions to play at instant speed. Like the game is much more fun. Like for me at least. Like.
I just think that Shadows doesn't allow for counterplay in a lot of situations is silly.
I think Expose is a very fair card for where Shadows is. I think Barring is a little ridiculous.
There's a lot of counterplay. There's Nightmares. There's shadow cards that counter other shadow cards.
So I would really love Nightmares as counterplay if you didn't also print Iron Throne.
Sure. But Iron Throne also still helps against shadows as well, especially repeatable shadows. Once you know what you're dealing with.
Just say Guile. Yeah.
Yeah, like, there's plenty of counterplay.
Fair enough.
Wait, we haven't talked at all really about.
There's that one Isle of Ravens again in this list.
Yeah, I still don't like it. And one Rose Road is also weird, right?
Make it an argument.
Wait, hang on.
One Rose Road is kind of weird.
What I really like is the 3 Olena's Informant in a Sea of Blood deck. Like, I like that a lot. It's like, if they defended everything and I came with all but 5, but Olena's Informant, and have a good day.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, that does seem good.
I've been using, like, Sorella in Martell Sea of Blood, so it's like, all right, if I fuck up once, I get another shot. So it's like, but like, Olena's Informant's just infinitely better than that. So
I'm a little surprised that there isn't at least 1 or 2 of the Pump Girls. What are they? What are they?
Hightower Spies.
Because there's so many. Because there's so many events. You're very limited.
Well, but the events. I mean, Goldtown's 1. Like all you need, like this deck, I feel like frequently will need like that +1 strength to pull off its stuff, and like only 1, 2 0 cost events, and 1 0 cost location, and everything else is at least +1 strength.
3 0 cost locations.
If they're Might of the Reaches instead, that seems like.
I do think it's weird to not have spies when you have 3 Marjorie. Like I would not play 3 Marjorie and 0 spies.
Yeah, that's fair.
Especially because
Oh.
Yeah. Well, the ability for spy to just be a trick, where they think they've got you, and then you pump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you miss, but like you have the Septons to guarantee that it's +2.
Right.
Sometimes you miss, and then you faked cancer and didn't win Gen Con. Like sometimes that happens.
Yes, that does. Thank you for bringing that memory up. Yes.
That's what I think of whenever you talk about that card. So now everyone has to think about it.
All right, and let's move on now. Now I've lost all wanting.
I wish that people would have done stuff. Like I wish for this tournament, people had done stuff to fuck with people. Like I wish LGB had played like 3 left and only 2 right, just to make people question it. Be like, why? Why did he do this?
Wait, does that explain the Lannister Reigns decks?
Is this intentional? Yeah, maybe people are just fucking.
Staying on the green cards, do we want to talk about this HRD deck that's running 64 cards?
64.
Which is that?
Oh, yikes.
The South Korean deck?
Oh, yeah. I just like talking about Asian decks because they're so removed from our decks. But yeah, HRD Huntress? How do we not talk about HRD Huntress?
Is that what it's...
HRD what?
HRD Hornhill? Come on.
It could be HRD Arbor Queen, but
it could be HRD Arbor Queen or Huntress, I assume.
No, but it's HRD Huntress, right?
You would never start Hornhill, right?
I know, I was joking when I said HRD Hornhill.
What? What's going on?
Look, given that +0 strength, it's really...
I can see starting Arbor Queen.
You could definitely start Arbor Queen.
I mean, with your 3 non-Tyrell.
There's only 3 non-Tyrell.
I mean, I don't...
Yeah, but then if you add an Archivist, you've got 4.
But
I mean, honest to goodness, I don't 100% know why Arbor Queen is in this deck. But
that's why I said it. I'm just like, this is a really weird include. I mean, you can theoretically always give your opponent the pump to make sure you get the +2, but then you're giving your opponent a pump.
But you can give it to someone else, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you can what if you're going first, though? Rip. Oh, it's running... I don't understand Brightwater Knight. Like, this card... I feel like it violates every card game rule So you pay
So
additional
where-
gold for.
no. Here's where you're confused. There's not understanding Brightwater Night, and then there's not understanding 3 Brightwater.
Brightwater Knight is definitely a card I can't wrap my head around.
I can if you're running Alistair Florent.
But you're not running Alistair Florent.
I'm aware of that. I didn't say I understood it here.
Maybe if this was some weird Lanny deck that had like the Kingsguard, Balon Swan. If it was like a Balon Swan deck and you just got gold back for playing him, but it's like there should still just be better knights than this.
Yeah, there are better knights in Tyrell than this, right? Like it's not running the guy who gains you power for summer plots.
Oh, wait, really?
Right?
I mean, I guess it's not really running summer plots, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but I mean that's still a better freaking card than Brightwater Knight. Like I'm sorry, like
There's 3
It
high
also-
tower knights, and again, still the 3 just the 3 hedge knights.
Also,
As,
like the Summer
trigger
Knight
condition.
dodges first no, which is this like these kinds of decks' biggest weakness is the mini resets.
how does this dodge first snow? Like I think literally every card in
It's
this
just-
deck loses.
No, I'm
People-
saying like you could play the 4 cost non-unique to get around it. Like obviously
Right.
he's worried about first no because he's playing 3
Wait.
ofs of guys like Colin of Green Pools, but
How is
Wait,
no?
Calling
wait.
them green pools.
Colin Greenpool is a great one of card in a nice deck.
Is it? But is it 3 of? Is it 3 of here?
gotta dodge that first no, baby.
With all the
It's
saves.
64 cards.
No,
Gotta-
okay, like Brightwater Knight and 3 Sonic Green Pools are nothing compared to 3 Hightower Knight with only the Hedge Knight. to
That's
make
what. Yeah. Again, it's just the 3 hedge knights.
JS Park. If you have the no,
There's got to be
this is
something
not-
we're missing here.
This is not an insult.
Are we
If
just
you
all
have-
idiots and do not like?
No,
Like I mean this really seriously. Like
These big brains
Something must be
playing.
giving you another affiliation in your deck.
Hey
somehow.
guys, what's the restricted?
Dragon's Tail.
Horse
Please say-
March.
Horse March.
Forced March. I mean, Forced March makes sense in this deck. That
No, it
makes
does
sense.
not. It does not.
But if you can play 1 Force March, don't you just automatically play 2?
Yes.
But also, like, look, Brightwater Knight synergizes. It's a garbage card with a military icon. You just kneel it. You're like, oh, whatever. I wasn't gonna use this card. And look, the discarded gold still works. So I paid
You know what?
6
Wait,
gold for
wait,
this
you know what's
3 strength military
ridiculous?
icon.
Didn't they just print like a knight that's a Tricon?
Yes.
You have other knights?
If you have a
Isn't
lord,
that?
no, if you have a lord or lady, he's a Tricon.
Oh, there's no Lord of Ladies except Marjorie.
Yeah.
Marjorie and Knight of
Eleanor.
Flowers.
Eleanor.
Eleanor.
then
This deck
that's
could pull that off.
strictly a better.
It's also
card
not
than,
running
like,
any
It's
of
a Lord
the.
Ladies and it has non-Tyrell characters. That's for fucking
It's also
sure.
not running either of the Garlands.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
This
Oh wow!
This thing
It's not.
hates 4-cost knights. He hates 4-cost knights.
So the 6
Look,
running-
cost
those cards get
He's
stolen by
running a
ward.
Hightower
All right, look, if I want a card to get
Oh.
warded, I want it to be a 3 or 2 cost card.
Knight. He's running
I
the
played
High-
3 Brightwater Knights.
Well,
I don't know what to do.
Is
with
this deck?
he just has 3 jousting knights. That guy is fucking terrible in every situation.
Does it? It's, I want to talk about how this deck is better at a crossing, but like, why? Why does it matter?
I would play 6 Colin of Green Pools before I would play 3 jousting.
So,
If I-
all right,
Okay.
all right, all right.
Wait,
We're being
wait,
a little
whenever-
dismissive here. All right,
no.
so
Wait, Cow the Lion would like to let us know that there are 3 Eleanor, but 7
no.
limited
No,
cards.
there's 3 Bounty of High Guard.
all right,
Oh.
so every single card in this deck, I believe, except Colin of Green Pools, because it's strength, right? Not cost, right? For Huntress, just gonna make sure. No, it's cost. Okay, so every single character except Knight of Flowers in this deck gets pumped by Huntress.
Hightower Knight.
Hightower Knight. Oh, it's 4. That's right. Excuse me. 4.
Sure.
All right. So
He's not running the little stand dude. Right?
no, yeah,
He's not.
yeah, isn't he? No, he's not. That's weird.
Alright, I'm closing this deck.
You know what else gives +1 strength? Ghost of High Heart.
Wait, isn't Lady Sense's Rose
Oh, there's
restricted?
3 Star Colin of Green Pools. Oh no!
Colin of Green Pools flex everything up.
according to Jousting Pavilion, this is a Joust legal deck. So,
It is
or not Jousting Pavilion, excuse me, Throws DB. All right. Let's talk. We did Giannis's deck, right?
We have not talked about you.
No, we haven't. The Martel Kraken, was that not one we just?
That was
Oh, the three
System of-
Eleanors for Lady Senses Rose. Colt gets this deck.
At
for
64
the-
cards, Cole. I want this deck to beat CT.
Every deck in the tournament is going to beat me, so that's fine.
It's Clement. CC's can get the worst matchup every game. It's gonna
All
be
you have to do is roll a fucking dice and decide who beats me every week.
All right. Giannis is an alliance. Excuse me. So it's
Oh, we're talking
alliance,
Giannis?
banner, stag, banner, kraken. Iron Maiden, I think, is the colloquial term for this.
No, that is my. No, that's me and no. That's Banner Stag, Banner Wolf.
Oh, banner
So-
wolf. Okay. There's some cool shit in this deck though. 3x Iron Bank again. Glazer's favorite card.
Which deck is this?
This is Giannis's.
Giannis.
Got
It's
it.
in there as Martel Kraken.
Germany Martel.
Yeah, I thought it was just Martel Kraken, but no. Some spicy cards. It's got again a single Gaston. It's got Core Iron Throne, Iron Bank. The Blackwater Raiders. Like, there's some spicy stuff. Hello, Rue. Would you like to say hello to your adoring public?
Can I tell you the card I think is? Oh, I'm on Jakob's deck. My bad.
One Motley, this deck is totally fine. I approve of this deck.
This deck is cool.
Any Motley is automatically gets a pass for me.
This deck is why you don't draft Jake Platt if you're Martel, because he will guaranteed play this.
And it's very hard for anybody but Janice to play this deck.
No, it's very hard for anyone to play this except if it's online, because have you heard what the time limit is on these fucking
2
games?
hours.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's fine.
If you
I
have
watched
2
the game
hours,
go an hour and 50 minutes today, but it's
yeah,
fine.
I know.
Really?
It was Martin. It was Martin. He was very upset. He was like, "I won on time like 7 times, and then I lost." And like, yep.
I think
Well,
this
my
is a
opponent
different
was-
game that I'm talking about. Actually,
Was it?
I think
His
there
deck
was
didn't
2
go.
games.
Remember, he said he conceded in an hour and 30 minutes or something.
No, hour 50. He was like, I was down 12-11, and I just ran out of stuff. It was 14 plot. I was like, all right,
Shall
man,
return.
but you're not playing Thrones anymore at that point, right? Like, you're playing a totally different game. That's absurd.
Still,
However, this deck is sweet. One someone always tells is the weirdest decision in the world.
there's a lot of 1x cards in here that are very strange.
One when I woke. What? Why?
One,
so
I mean,
I
this
played it-
deck isn't consistently going to be able to cancel plots, but like if you draw your 1 and you haven't trade routes yet, sure, you've got to cancel.
And if not, then you have a bad hand's judgment.
Yeah, you just
The
have a
bad
more
book
expensive
does
hand
it.
judgment. It's
Like,
fine.
I believe in Janice's ability to play this game. This deck is very.
You can also just
off
cancel it first,
card
though.
counts.
Like if it's annoying to you, if you have it, like that's a thing.
Yeah.
This deck is so one Southron Messenger. I played against this the other day, and I was just like, "You win. I don't want to do this with my life."
I think that's how this deck wins half his matches.
Like it's running a locked away, and like you're just like, ugh.
Also, as a Martel player, I don't know if it necessarily applies to this deck as much, but like we now live in a world where being able to cancel and expose duplicity in the challenge phase is perfectly reasonable. It's just this Martel deck doesn't have a lot of shadows in it.
It can stop the one nighttime Marauders.
It's got a Blackwater Raiders, dog. You don't want them to steal your locations.
In fairness, Blackwater Raiders stole 2 of my little Targ not limited.
Oof.
Because he newly mated them, and then was like, "It's mine." I was like, "All right, cool, you can have them."
So that he can start stuffing his 75 card deck again. Cool.
You know,
In
that's what you
fairness-
just need to do.
Hey, in fairness, that motherfucker drew 4 on a Misty Morns in 3 turns.
Wow.
Oh,
I was
geez.
like, "Cool, I'm just playing a burn deck. This is fair." Giannis is good, and drawing cards is good. And
All
I
right.
don't think trade routes is the right restricted for this deck.
All right. I'm gonna say that we need to pick 2 more decks because I need to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Because
You work
sadly,
tomorrow?
yes, Philly does
Oh, I'm
not
off.
celebrate Yom Kippur. So
Wait, why is it running 3 water gardens?
let's pick.
Because he needs money.
We're not done with this deck.
$dollars.
It's a 75 card deck.
How else are you gonna pay for these Dorns?
With your gold, because you're not playing characters.
At the Iron Bank.
I guess Iron
Yeah.
Bank, but that takes a while.
These are all like Iron Bank and Water Garners you want to see early, and you're playing 75 cards. Like you need to play 3x of these cards.
Yeah, I would play 3 Water Gardens in a heartbeat.
I mean,
I would-
you gotta get up to 75 cards somehow. Like, and there definitely are not enough Banner
And you're-
Stag and Banner Kraken cards.
There's
Do you want
no
to play?
how.
You can't play more than 1 Nighttime Marauders.
There's also no Hollow Hill.
There's not that many non-loyal cards, though, all considered, compared to other versions of this I've seen, right?
There's 1 loyal card in the whole deck. Why would you not run Hollow Hill?
No, you're right. You're right. Wow.
There's 3 of those 1 cards.
Maybe because
In your 75 cards, they're clearly staying out for game.
well, maybe because it's my experience of playing these Martell Alliance decks, where you play Hollow Hill and you're like, oh, I'm so excited, and then you whiff 3 times when triggering it over the course of 3 rounds because
this
you see
is
nothing
reason-
but locations.
Yeah,
This
you could trigger it and you're like, fuck, 3 Water Gardens.
Hey, Chris Thompson, what's missing from this deck that you made famous? Well, Alex Black made famous because he's better than you, but like that you made famous.
Ouch.
Well, this deck is definitely not faking cancer. That's all I'm saying.
Jesus.
There's definitely no orphans. There's no Varises.
Right? Isn't that weird?
A little weird.
Like, you're running 3 Vanguard Lancer, and you're running Trade Routes and Iron Bank. And, like, the card that when you win a power challenge, like, screws up your opponent's power,
Yeah.
just missing.
Oh, the best card, Cascavale.
Isn't that weird?
Cascavale.
Like, he has to have tested them because obviously he's insane, right? But, like, man,
You just didn't see him enough in a 75 card deck.
if there's one deck that has ever been like, wanna play Blood of the Dragon against me,
All right, so pick another deck for our penultimate deck.
can we ask the chat?
All right, chat. What do you want for us to be our penultimate deck?
Let's wait for them.
Do
And
our
in the
homework
meantime,
for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked a couple Stark decks just because I think Stark is bad and interesting.
Oh, Jimmy suggested one. We've got UK Wars winner Goats and Rose clone World Cup Mystery Night.
That one's not our penultimate deck, but we can talk about it. I'll grab it. Who played it? It's what's
Whoever
his
their
name?
Mystery Night is.
Franke is playing it. Franke.
Okay.
The Netherlands. Netherlands is a sweet ass team, by the
So
way.
this is, I assume, JonTron, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Rose.
JonTron Rose. So I'm very skeptical of these 75 card JonTron decks.
It's alright,
mean,
there's
yeah.
2 Oathkeeper. Everything's fine.
That's true.
It's got 3 pounds for the wall is the real money.
It does.
I
for the
I
wall
just
is
hate the idea of
such a
adding
ridiculous.
15 cards because that's 15 less chances for me to draw bound for the wall.
I mean, I'm in full agreement with CT here. Like, I just don't see, like, all right, you're getting High Guard Courtier, which, cool, that's additional stand. Marjorie, additional pump. Randall for extra stuff, but that's making your Sworn for the Watch do extra work. Like,
What's Swarm for the Watch?
I don't know.
I am definitely not seeing anything in the Tyrell package that's making me want 15 more cards.
So it's the Courtier. They're running it for the Courtier. Like, at the end of the day, it's for the Courtier, right? The Courtier and the King.
Sure,
I mean,
yeah.
the King's fine.
Well, it's the answer to King that would otherwise slow you down enough to lose. I mean, hey, is Colt still in the chat? Colt, what do you think of this? Whose mind's desire?
Doesn't have enough Dragon's Tails.
I mean, it's
Emil.
running New Yorin, which I think is super cute. I mean, it gives you a more room to run a bunch of cards that probably wouldn't make the cut in a mono Nice Watch version of the deck.
Colt does not approve 75 card Voltron decks.
Yeah, neither am I.
Oh, hi, Neil. I hate you.
So maybe
Hi,
like,
Neil.
I mean, but like, what do you gain from running Randall rather than like running one of the old bears as like an alternate target and for your John
Native renown.
Traininess?
Native renown.
Native renown, sure, but I don't know. How many?
I mean,
How many of the Lord Commander? It's only running one Lord Commander.
Did
I-
they
I-
just,
You could just do Corrin instead. Like,
Corrin, yeah.
at the Corrin
But
doesn't
Corrin
take
does take any of your
attachments.
attachments, so.
he takes the weapons.
Well, that's not Lord Commander. But at the end of the day, like, I know this is crazy, but Halder's busted, and like, I never get one Halder in these decks. Like, it's like I'm running 100 Knights
I mean,
Watch attachments.
Halder, yeah, I
Run
mean,
more Halder. So
this
mean,
is
he's-
also just one UK Thrones War, right? Like, it's gonna
Yeah.
be good.
Look, I don't think the deck is bad.
I
just
mean, I'm not
think
saying that like
it's not like 3 milk always like I don't know, 1 Isle again just to make CC happy.
I mean,
I think that a deck like this can just blow up a meta that's not prepared for it. But I think a meta that's prepared for these style of decks, running the 75 card version is less efficient and less consistent than running the 60 card version.
as far as Halder, there's really not a lot of Night's Watch cards here you can actually kneel to get value, since it's not like a builder's deck, so you don't just have spare locations sitting around either. So, like, one Halder makes sense. Because the only thing you really kneel is your one Dagger, your one Long Claw, your one Lord Commander, your one Miner's Pick.
One's
Yeah,
one
there's
to
actually-
watch.
One Practice Blade, Sworn to the Watch. There's 6 valid targets that don't kneel to do their own effect.
Yeah.
You also have spare
wrong.
boot though. You can multiple use them.
I don't know.
Then I can do that.
I don't
too.
think it warrants him being included more than once, though.
Wait, doesn't that have
Yeah,
hand? Oh no,
sure.
it does have hand of the king. Okay. Seal of the hand or whatever it is. Yeah, okay, cool.
I mean, Cole would also say that a 75 card deck means you have 15 less chances to see your seasoned woodsman, which is really all the deck is about.
I mean, yeah,
I mean, would Colt say that? Colt, what say you?
he's in there. He's talking about how he doesn't like it, except that
Yeah,
if
I
you're
don't
gonna do
like
it, this is the way to do it. But yeah, he's 100% in agreement with us. All right, so what's gonna be our penultimate deck? 'Cause-
We've got a few more to talk about. Sorry.
no,
Sa-
Glazer, I am gonna end this at like
it was
11:45
Daniel
to 11:55.
Benini's
Like,
sailing
I'm
with
sorry.
Daniel Benini's sailing with Cohor. Someone suggested. I don't remember who because it's been a few minutes. But it is the Italian Greyjoy deck.
Do we have the link in the sheet or
It's-
Yeah. No, it's in chat.
where's it?
Anil linked it up.
I'll find it again and I'll redrop it in chat. Give me a sec.
That was hours ago.
Like, I'm not opening just like everything that's in the chat. I'm just kind of
It's redropped in Twitch and NorCal. Look at you, NorCal.
go
Out
get
there
it.
right
Thank
before you.
Alejandro.
You're
Okay,
a
cool.
pro.
Sailing with
Alright,
Cohor. Oh, another 75 card alliance deck. Okay.
Ugh, and it has heads on spikes in it. Ugh.
Oh, jeez.
It doesn't have one Isle of Ravens.
So is this
It doesn't have one Citadel Archivist. Boo.
so is this just taking like what Wama did and like adding 15 extra cards?
No,
It's like
well,
a-
this deck
15
was
extra
around
yellow
before.
cards, let's be honest. But it's more about the warships, right?
No, yeah, it's combining it with the Greyjoy stack that was around. It's like, all right, I'm gonna smash Wama's deck into
like
the
both
Greyjoy
these
stack.
These are both
and make
fun.
Oh, man. I can-
baby.
I'm the Greyjoy player representing Italy. I love both of these decks. Small
Rationing is-
brain. Play the
rationing
Wama
is
deck.
cool.
Big brain. Play Greyjoy Stag. Galaxy Brain. Play Greyjoy Alliance Banner Stag trading with the Cohor.
So,
Boom! Got him.
All right, let's give the guy credit because he's been playing this for a while. Like
Yeah.
I think he made like top 8 at German nationals, and then he just won Italian nationals or made the final table. I can't remember.
so
But I'm in agreement with you guys. I don't like 75 card decks. I'd rather go one way or the other with this guy.
let's talk about some of the character choices. One begging brother is the only number of begging brother that makes me actively angry. One Dagmar Cleftjaw in
No, that's exactly
75
the right number of
cards.
Dagmars that you should be
In
running.
75
You should be running
cards?
one?
If you're gonna
Bro,
run any, you should be running
Yeah,
one.
yeah. That's the problem. Is I wouldn't want any.
One Crescent is an interesting choice in 75 cards.
It wants 3. So what's its barrier? First off, let's start with its. If we're looking at one Crescent, so Lysini Galley. Okay, that makes sense. But I might actually want more than one Lysini Galley. Warhammer makes perfect sense in this deck. It's good. Disputed Claim has a lot of targets. This deck is definitely a win more kind of get ahead deck. Okay, makes sense.
God, this
Once
deck is
or
so
Emery,
greedy.
sure.
Oh my god.
Oh god, I can't. You know what pisses me off about this deck more than anything I can
The
possibly
drum?
imagine? So, I've seen a lot of Greyjoy decks lately that have red rains in them. This is the first Greyjoy deck I've seen, as Glazer said, that has the drum, and there is no red rain here. I am fucking depressed. My god.
It has the drum? Oh, it does.
It does. It has the drum.
Can we just keep
This deck
saying
is
it has
so
the drum?
greedy.
Like, in
It's a
rhythm?
greedy deck.
It doesn't even run Return of the Field.
I mean,
I'm annoyed that it has like Dagmir and only has like one Gerald Goodbrother who actually is really, really good.
Also, Dagmar, although he's super good on your rationing turn because he's an interrupt a claim being applied, not.
Ooh, yeah.
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 Dagmar just wins games though. If you like play him turn 1, he can just win a game.
then run 3?
No, because sometimes you're in the middle of the game and then you draw him and you're like, this card doesn't do shit.
Fuck!
I mean,
That's fair.
I don't-
To me,
I can
Dagmar
also
is a
see people-
1 or none kind of card.
I can see people just snapping like Dorn's off the restricted list. Dagmir's going in. I don't fucking care.
Wait, I'm not the best player in the world. Please don't run Dagmar Cleftjaw 4 years into this game.
So what's more interesting to me is Euron is the restricted card here, which I guess again is just trying to go all in on this warship theme.
Warships?
But why aren't you running more of the Barrow warships? Are they just not all good enough?
Are most of them just
Yeah.
complete garbage?
Yeah, they're usually pretty bad.
No.
I mean, it's not even running all the good. Like, 3 Maiden's Bane is a fucking choice, though, right? Jesus.
Maiden's Banes are so freaking good.
But have
Yeah,
you
Main's
ever
insane.
have you ever heard of Support of the People?
You're playing rationing though. You can't play Support of the People.
Yeah, and you got to play events in a
You're not-
75 card deck.
He's not running any saves.
It's-
Oh my god. In 75 cards, he's gonna get Valorant and just cry, right? Like Bodyguard, better Bodyguard.
There's not even a Kerwin in here.
There's 3
So
bodyguards.
What
you know what's
the
really
fuck?
weird? Sir Emery Florent was the leader of Stannis' vanguard in the ocean battle, in the sea battle, and he's not a captain.
Oh,
That
that's
is
So-
kind of weird.
So either way, Sir Emery Florent belongs a one of in any deck that has Barrow cards.
yeah,
period.
Sir Florence.
I
But
mean, he'd
very
be
good
OP
card.
if
Good.
he was House Florent and a captain. He'd be way too good. So,
He is, in fairness, fucking phenomenal. He's a one of
Yeah.
in every fucking deck. Like,
Very-
not even kidding.
Yeah, he's a very good card. I like the Balon choice here though, but you're not running,
Vince.
Vince.
Yeah, I
But-
don't care. I love that Valon too
Yeah,
much.
he's-
Balon
he's
too
It's
much.
the right
yeah.
Balon, yeah.
I think
He's
it's
the
the right
best
balance
Balon
in this
there's
deck
no other
because it
faction
doesn't
there.
really want the king and it definitely doesn't want the 6-drop. So
So it doesn't want the king because it's going to get its one King of Salt and Rock. That always worries me.
It's got Renly.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
it's
It's got
got
Renly. It's got Renly. Then it's fine. It's trying to pump Renly with those Warhammers, right?
yeah. The dream is just like Renly shitting all these huge Greyjoy guys into play.
Yeah.
And then using like Maiden's Bane to do challenges. which
And
is
then
huge.
I play Valor Mergulis, and unless you saw those bodyguards,
He doesn't have to see him. We could trigger cohort for him.
Yeah, he can. Captain Renly is pretty fucking cool, actually.
And you know who's really annoying? Gerald Goodbrother.
Yeah,
He's
dude,
very
super
annoying.
good. Super good.
I tried. Oh, yeah, we're at a point where I can say this. Nice. Last pack of the cycle's out, right?
it is, yeah.
I tried to make Gerald Goodbrother not be a card really hard. I was like, Greyjoy doesn't need more renown. Please stop.
But
But, you know, not looking to.
But look,
They didn't print all the renown. They gave him a 2-drop that saves people. He doesn't have renown.
Mr. Kerwin. Oh, jeez.
I wanted
right.
to talk about decks, but fine.
what's
Last
our
deck?
final deck? I'm sorry, Glacier. I
It's
do
gotta
not
be
have off
Nicola.
tomorrow. I actually have my hardest work day of the week is
I
Wednesday.
wanted to talk. I really wanted to talk about Jakob's deck, but we'll skip it because if we don't talk about Niemer's deck, we're being fucking.
Yeah, I would cry.
I really want to talk about CT's deck too, because literally CT is on the fucking podcast. But you know,
Well, it's not going
I remember
anywhere.
CT said something in our chat about not talking about his deck. So
no, that's not what he said. He said don't talk.
I just
about
said,
it. He
yeah,
thought
just wait
he
till I'm
wasn't gonna
here.
make it.
uh,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to talk about it.
all right. Well, CT,
You know.
we'll talk about Niemer and we'll do CT and then we'll end the show.
Yeah, let's do CT.
All right.
Gross.
So this
This
is the
deck
busted
is-
mercenary contract deck, right?
I mean, it's not the mercenary contract that makes it busted. Like, it's just busted because it's busted, and the mercenary
Yeah.
contract makes it dumb.
This is a
Like-
Tarko. Okay.
Yeah. It's the coolest deck in the world.
It is. Yeah, it's.
I mean, the
awesome.
reason why mercenary contract is busted is because almost every card can search it out, right? With cohort.
Yes. I'm not saying that that's not amazing, because it is, but the deck is probably kind of busted without that
The
interaction.
deck is busted because it has twice as many Citadel Archivists than any of the other decks we've looked at tonight.
I mean, it's just cool, right? Like,
Yeah, Breaking Ties as your restricted card is so good right now.
no.
It's also the
Breaking Ties
most
with
eco thing in the world to run
mercenary
breaking
contract. No. With mercenary contract,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
take their dude and you sack them.
Yeah.
Oh.
This deck is awesome.
It's so cool.
Is there any other mercenary tech other than Dario that I just don't know about? That I just like missed.
No.
That was just Dario.
No,
Okay.
but like it's fine. You know what the other mercenary tech is? Mercenary contract will still stand your Khal Drogo.
Yeah. Oh, the card isn't nuts. Like
Like
I had like a three strength Bicon or Tricon King fucking dude with the Valerian Steel deck that the contract just was like standing the guy, and like I was doing all these challenges with like shitty chud guys.
you know
I'm
what's
just like,
also
wow, this card is carrying me so far.
Wow, you get up to
Someone-
4 challenges. Ugh.
someone on Roy's team beat me with this, where I was like, I need to get this mercenary contract off my Danny, but they had another mercenary contract on Tywin, their Tywin, and then they just stood there Tywin and beat me, and I was like, oh, right, you can just stand your own shit with it.
Yep.
Like, I can just mercenary contract my Drogo, stand it with mercenary contract, and stand it again with Dario.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
stand again with mercenary contract.
Yeah, it's yeah. And then switch out to Tokar for 50 string, right? Like it's
Woo.
God, the card is even unique. That's insane.
Well, there's more than one mercenary, Alejandro.
I mean,
It's
There
true.
are, in
It's
fact,
true.
some.
It's not like it's Second Son's contract or something.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you what I feel was weird about this deck. This is the most awkward setting up deck you will ever see. And he's just like, oh look, a 7 and 5 attachments.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually how the Valerian Steel decks go. It's
I mean, I would know if CT had sent me that.
I mean, if you built no Valerian Steel decks, though, like they all have kind of weird setups. Sometimes
kidding?
you're just like,
You
here's a
don't-
dude with 4 things on him.
I mean, that's no
You
different than
don't
those old Dance
understand the
Dark Horse,
number of
Dark Horse
Targaryen
decks,
decks I built.
I mean,
Barristan Selmy is a really cool card too.
he's cool.
3.
Yeah, with on-demand attachment buffs, he's definitely a really good card.
Can I also note 3 Jeekwe, 3 Dorea, and 3 Missandei?
Hey, you gotta break them ties, dog.
yeah.
You gotta break
Two
those
drops.
ties.
But no Kotho.
It's not unique.
And you don't
Not
really
loyal.
have like
Yeah,
the
this-
ins
Or,
and- you
yeah.
don't- This deck doesn't draw cards, right?
Sure it does. It really
Doria.
draws
I guess
a
with
lot
Doria and
No.
Danny, I guess.
Dory,
Nope.
Danny.
Nope. Dragon's
But
Gate.
it definitely doesn't
Once
have those
you
bursts.
once you
like it
have
doesn't have
shit
green.
out, you're just like, I just want more cards now. Dragon's Gate.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like, the economy is awkward. Rarity is murky.
Dragon Skull is so good in this deck too. Oh man, that's
I
such
mean,
a
Dragon Skull's really good in every deck that doesn't have dragons.
yes.
That's why
Yes.
it is actually one of the more reasonable target cards I think that have been made in a while, because you actually have to make a real choice when you build your
No
deck.
Dracaris for you.
So the 3 Danny in this deck, spoiler, I've tested this a little bit. The 3 Danny aren't as good as you want them to be.
Would this Danny rather be the new Danny that's coming out?
I mean, yes, fucking immediately.
Good. You got that to look forward to.
But this Danny is just fine in the deck. Like when sometimes you set her up with a million things, and you're like, again, I guess, like that'll be fine. But she won't take Queen's Guard, which is very annoying.
Yeah,
And there's no
like-
Rhaegal.
She'll
But
take
she
a
does
mercenary
take
contract.
Mercenary contract. So
I mean, everyone takes a mercenary contract. That's fine. It's just she's fine. She's just not like she's the last choice of the things you set up as your Voltron.
Yeah, but I mean, she's a solid third choice. And then sometimes she just makes challenges math a nightmare for your opponent, right? Even if you're not using it.
She's 100% the fourth choice.
So you got Dario's number 1.
Barristan.
No.
Barristan.
Barristan's number 1. Barristan's number 1. Drogo's number 2.
So ahead of Dario?
Barristan's number 1.
All right, so Barristan's number 1.
So
Then
Barristan
Drogo.
just being like, oh, I attacked and defended 4 times this turn is amazing.
Fair.
Dario, Drogo's number 2, Dario's number 3, Danny is number 4, and that's only because there isn't a real fourth choice.
Citadel Archivist is 5.
Morris and Aegon Targaryen is fine.
Aegon is number 5. That's why he's there, right?
I mean, one of the things that does make the deck consistent, though, is that it has so many medium targets. Right.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about the JonTron deck that had 2. And then this has
I mean,
3 good targets, which is Barristan, Khal Drogo, and Dario. And then 2 firmly median.
I've won on setting up Dorea.
Yeah.
It's just been all right, Dorea has everything. Good luck.
Yeah, like, I don't care. By the time Missandei has a skull, 2 Tokars, a mercenary contract, like, it's fine. You're doing fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is.
Fair. All right.
Go, Missandei, go.
So what is going to be our last deck? We said it was going to
CTs.
be CT, right? Is then your list here?
Wait, we didn't talk about plots on this. Can we talk about plots?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Are they interesting?
I mean, I think they're really cool.
Now, let me bring it back up.
But this suffers from that problem you said earlier. Because Aegon's not a king, right? So there's only one. Your bigger king's your only king?
Yes.
Yeah, but you have 3 tutors for it.
Yeah, and
we complained about the last deck having that. And...
no, but you also have the previous market. So, like, it's not like a single thing that gets rid of attachments is really screwing your day up.
Yeah.
Fair. Everything else seems pretty bog standard for what you would expect of a deck trying to do this, except for the breaking ties, but we already talked about that.
Okay.
Right? Because you'd expect a Shadows Answered plot. You expect an economy card. You expect a reset. You expect a 2-claimer.
Someone check the chat while I go find CT's deck to drop.
This chat's pretty dead. Hello, chat.
Oh, I just opened CT's actual deck, which is not what I meant to do. Sorry. Alex Black's deck.
Rip.
They are technically different.
They are, and I won't say what out of sheer respect, even though you won't share the cool deck with me.
I mean...
I want to play Valerian Seal. I've got all these better decks, and
I said I would send it to you if you play it.
I don't know if I'm playing it.
You can't back out either. You can't be like,
whoa, Lingering Venom, get it, Alex Black.
CT is not running Lingering Venom in his
Yes,
version.
I am. Oh, I definitely am.
Ooh, I love this card. Lingering Venom is such a fun card.
My assumption was Lingering Venom was where your cool cards came in.
Lingering Venom is definitely like...
Wait, Lingering Venom is not a cool card?
No. CT, can I say what your cool card is?
You can say what my cool card is. I don't care.
King's Landing is
Oh, yeah.
sweet in this deck.
Yeah, remember that card?
Not
do.
exactly this version, but King's Landing with like Gaston and then the warship that kills locations is amazing. And honestly,
that's not even the best part.
what's the best part?
The best part is Desert Raider and Infinite Princess Pass.
Nice.
The game is over once you have those three cards in play and they have no answer.
Love Desert Raider and Princess Pass. Yeah, I played that a lot for a little while. Wasn't as good when Greyjoy had every Tricon in the world. But
so
yeah.
basically, like the genesis of the deck was, so I've been like super down on Hollow Hill since forever. But then like post restricted list, basically Jimmy was just like, we were like prepping like agendas for Thornstoberfest, and Jimmy's just like, "Are you sure that Hollow Hill isn't good now that Dorn's back?" And like, I'm like, "You might be right, because Greyjoy can't just blow up my location on turn 1 and then steal it from me on turn 2. So maybe we should look at this again." And it turns out, oh wow, yeah, in this new meta, like Martell can actually maybe function again using big expensive locations.
God help us all.
God help us all.
So this.
But what if I'm not doing challenges? I'm just sparrowing you.
Wait,
then you win. Oh, this deck eats Shadows shit all day long. Like Shadows is basically an auto lose matchup.
Same thing for the Targ Hollow Hill though.
Yeah, the Targ Hollow
has
Hill really
no
does
chance
have trouble with
against
Shadows.
Like the Hollow Hill's not going to be good against Shadows. You can beat Shadows with Targ Hollow Hill?
Yeah, of course.
How?
That's why it has 3 Shadows and 2 Nightmares.
You're talking about the Assassin?
Oh, you're running the Assassin? You cut the Assassin. You're lying.
I mean, you could put those Assassins back in. No,
Yeah.
I'm talking about just Nightmares and Shadows of the East.
Oh, Shadows of the East.
Like 4 of their plots are summer plots. Even.
Oh, I'm
so
more thinking
like,
from the Lannister side. Like, that card doesn't mean as much. I've been playing, spoiler alert, a lot of Lannister Shadows.
Sorry, yeah. Targ can handle the Shadows deck.
Can handle the Tyrell pretty well, yeah. Like
the Tyrell Shadows, yeah.
Yeah, it can eat, but it struggles against Lannister. Like every time I play against your deck from Canadian and from U.S. Nationals, I'm like, ooh, free wins.
The Tyrell is more abusive. The Tyrell is more abusive, but more answerable. And the Lannister is a better deck because Alchemist Guildhall is a card.
Alchemist Guildhall is very good against Targaryen.
Alchemist Guildhall doesn't have a match it's bad at.
The Shadows Mirror?
Really? You don't want to be able to just can't? Oh, it does it not cancel Shadows?
It doesn't cancel Shadows, man.
Then canceling Mandon Moore is really good.
It can't cancel Mandon Moore.
It can't cancel Shadows.
It can't cancel Shadows. I didn't realize that. Okay, bad in the Shadows Mirror.
It's super bad in the Shadows Mirror.
When you draw it in the Shadows Mirror,
poison coins
like,
in the Shadows Mirror. You're
yes.
Like, fuck. Why did I play this card?
You look for your gold mine as fast as possible.
Oh, that's where you're like,
that's...
gold mine. Like, it was literally the difference between playing Tyrell Shadows. I was like, oh man, I drew poison coin. I lose when I'm playing Tyrell Shadows. And then when I play Lannister Shadows, oh, I drew poison coin in the mirror. Well, at least I have this gold mine, so I get to see at least one more card, and maybe I don't lose. Oh wait, it's the second poison coin. Fuck.
Hey, are you running 3 Begging Brother in yours?
I have 2.
Okay, so you should cut Darkstar and run the 3rd Begging Brother.
Oh, Darkstar is life.
This is the wrong Darkstar anyway.
Darkstar is the night. Or of the night, or something. Whatever his fucking flavor text says.
No, this is definitely the right Darkstar because Princess Pass, excuse me. But,
is Weed on Venom?
Go first. I like never go.
Any Viper takes a bite out of me will rue it. Okay.
What?
That's his flavor text, by the way.
Oh, okay. I guess it's corny.
I thought you were talking about your cat.
No, she's sleeping right now.
Yeah,
she's a smart cat right now. She's the smart one in this household.
I genuinely don't know what you cut from this deck that's not the Lingering Venom for your little Shadows little package. What I would have cut.
I don't run the Surprising Varus package.
I want both. I also probably run 2 Venomous, not 3, but that's fine.
I don't like 75 card decks. So the issue is this is an unexpected Guile deck, or an unexpected return deck, right? That's the only reason Lingering Venom and Venomous Blade are at 3-ups. But
Yeah,
like,
I understand that.
they need to be at 3-ups. You get so much value out of getting to keep a body and bouncing their bodies. So like, seeing a 2-drop on a Venomous Blade on the first turn is like seeing Drogon.
Yes, I would kind of just rather run a little bit more ambush.
I mean, the ambush is like pretty decent.
It's just there's other good ambush. It's Martell.
Let me put the deck in. Let me see the deck in the chat.
Someone did, no?
I got it. Hang on. Yeah, like I also have some Shadows guys. Like I play Friends at Court because that card's amazing.
Well, I don't think it's amazing, but yeah, I get it.
It's pretty amazing. It's a 3-strength power icon in Martell. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, for 5 costs.
I mean,
you can just marshal it.
You can just marshal it.
Yeah.
It's 4 to bring out, and you still get to look at the cards. You only have to pay 2 if you actually want to bounce something, which usually only ends up being Unexpected Guile, surprisingly enough.
So I also, and this is a big fight with Martin always, I don't like Garrus, but I love Archibald.
Ugh.
I know. I really love Archibald.
I have way too many good results with Garrus. Archie's fine, but like...
Archie sets up real good marsh, and you're running 2 of those.
Yeah, so does Unexpected Guile.
I mean, yeah. But that's
I have games where I marched... I have games where I have to
delay,
march my opponent has no characters in play. So, like,
yes.
I don't need help doing that.
Fair enough. But sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do, but like...
I also have cut Greenblood Trader from literally every Martell deck because I just prefer Hollow Hill. Like, especially with the Last of the Giants package. If you're running Last of the Giants, you should be running Hollow Hill, not Greenblood Trader.
Well, sure. This build, Alex's build, I could see not playing the Greenblood Traders.
Sure, I don't have your build in front of me.
I don't.
But like, if you just like, because then Hota's your only loyal. I guess like you just cut the Greenblood Trader and you run 2 Hollow Hill, and you're just like, all right, cool, thanks.
Yeah, if I was gonna run Hollow Hill, I probably wouldn't run the Greenblood Traders. And actually, Lamzik has been on me for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he's just like 1 and guy in every Martell deck, and I'm just like, fuck, fine, whatever.
I'd have an and guy, 2 Hollow Hill, 1 and guy, perfect. I run and guy in my wolf. My wolf is very similar to this, except wolf cards.
The other thing I get about and guy is he doesn't know how to hold venomous blades. That's his one downfall.
Yeah, but it's a one of, man.
Yeah.
Neither does the Beg Bro or Jack and Hagar.
The only other issue is like, and guys like bet he's one of those guys that like you want T1, but like I don't have a setup and I can't play him turn 1. So like he's way less valuable here than he is in like Martell Wolf.
Yeah.
I definitely like him in Wolf though.
He's just fine. Like, right? Like I get to just drop him and occasionally dominate an empty board, and it's Martell Wolf, so the board's empty a lot.
Yeah, sure.
Like I have 6 gold and I can ward drop him, and I'm like, cool. 3 challenges.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna bring us a little bit to a close.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Because
I want to talk a
the
little bit about.
The Smart Circle Jerk is not over.
I want to talk a little bit about the very lit day of the World Cup that is coming up. Not tomorrow, but the 10th, where friend of the show Derek Shoemaker, friend of the show Dave Bamford, friend of the show JC Wama, friend of the show Sean Emberley, friend of the show Kyle Vansel, friend of the show Sean and Franke are all playing on the 10th at different times, obviously. So that is a stacked day to be watching the World Cup this Thursday. Let me look at what's also coming up. Any other? Mike Aruro is playing on the 12th. Alex Black, you can see him play this deck on October 13th, which is Sunday. You can watch Alex play. Yeah. So the big day is the 10th. Thursday, there is a huge number of games going on. So
I'm supposed to play tomorrow, but We'll see if that
I don't
happens.
see you, Ella.
No, we haven't scheduled a hard time. We're going to connect tomorrow.
Just flirting.
I am also theoretically playing my game tomorrow, so I don't know if you can watch me get rushed down in 2 plots or not, but it's
Oh my God.
possible.
I really wish I was a part of these conversations.
In before sweep.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
I can't believe you're all playing those decks.
Nobody said anything to me about any Lannister decks for weeks, and then it was like 3 days before deck lists were supposed to be submitted, and I was like, oh shit, I'm Lannister. Fuck, I need to submit a deck list. So I just grabbed the Shadows deck I had and submitted it.
So my
Enjoy playing that for 2 weeks.
problem
before
was you
X
guys
drop.
decided to do this on Discord,
Go X drop.
and hey, I've got Andre Potop's deck. Oh wow, that is not what I expected him
All
to
right,
be.
Glazer will literally ramble this all the way through.
No. Second Son's Invitational is still happening. We are almost there. We're waiting for decks to. That's what I was checking while you guys were talking about other things. We're waiting for decks to be submitted. We should be starting before or right at our next episode in 2 weeks.
Cool.
So
The episode after Thronestoberfest
is about to be happening. Yeah.
Cool.
Crazy if that happened. Almost like I tried to plan it around my life.
So, Final Thronestoberfest, everybody on this cast will be here in Philadelphia in a week and a half. If you are attending, please vote on the little poll so I can have a sense of who is going to be around, because I'm going to make a reservation at a brewery, which should be pretty exciting, and it's going to be a good time. So we will see you all again.
Wait, before we go, everyone has to pick a team that they're not on to win Thronestoberfest.
Tyrell.
All right.
Really?
Yeah.
For
Alejandro?
me,
Night's Watch.
okay. For me, Targaryen.
Thanks, bro. I'm gonna take Lannister to pay you back.
There we go.
Rip.
I would like.
We
to
do
pick
definitely have the
Stark,
sweetest
but
prize
it's Stark.
support. We have at least 3 alt art cards featuring animals being handed out. So,
We've got 2 alt art cards and a playmat.
all right. So, enjoy yourselves. We will see you on the 22nd, unless the game falls apart again, and this DCG becomes a DDCG. I don't know. Until then, I want to thank Alejandro for joining us, and thank you all for watching.
And welcome to Second Sons, the longest running and worst Magic Cards podcast in the game.
All right. Good night, Glazer.